What's up, y'all? It's been a minute. Doing a late night one. It's about 12:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. I'm gonna do a quick little tech episode here. It's Black History Month. Been very, very busy changing shifts and doing things of that nature and working on different projects, so I haven't got a chance to get back to y'all with the story times like I should. But what I want to do for Black History Year, as I want to call it, I want to coin it Black History Year, because really Black history should be all throughout the year. It shouldn't just be one day, of course. And what I want to do is I want to play a video real quick of a brother that created the first search engine. We wouldn't have Google without this brother. So I want to play a Hall of Fame speech that he's
honored and
going to speak about. Now this brother, his name is Alan Emtich, and they're putting him into the Hall of Fame. Now we should know more about this brother. We should definitely know more about this brother, but they don't really talk about him that much. They don't talk about him that much. However, I'm going to give him his honor and respect.
By this honor, I'm told by the Secretariat that I am the first Barbadian and the first person from the Caribbean to receive, be an inductee into the Hall of Fame. So I'm proud of that. As I look across the assembled crowd here tonight, it's gratifying to see how diverse this is, particularly and how that has changed over the last 30 years. I would like to, there are a couple of things I'd just like to say. We are in the internet nowadays, people think of as being this incredibly competitive and commercial market. For those of us who worked on it 30 years ago, and for whom commercial activity was actually forbidden, this is quite a change. And while the spirit of altruism still continues to exist on the internet, much of the internet works on open source software, which is contributed freely by programmers and engineers across the world. That spirit of altruism started very early on, and it is, well, without blowing my own horn, the internet as we know it today wouldn't exist were it not for the fact that a lot of the organizations and individuals who worked on it back then freely allowed the fruit of their work to be distributed for free. So
and you know, that's quite true when it comes to technology. A lot of people that have designed and developed things in this world, somebody had to strive and go through a lot of pains to pretty much just give it away, and we reap those benefits. So what he is saying is true. Another person, and I think for the rest of the month, like I said, I'm starting off the month late, and I might just start doing this in general, is I'm going to introduce black folks of technology and talk about them. Now, there's a sister by the name of Valerie Thomas. She's a data scientist. She was born in Maryland and Baltimore. And she invented the illusion transmitter. She received that patent in 1980, and she was also responsible for developing media formats and image processing systems, and that was used early on in NASA's Landsat program. So she became a data analyst working for NASA in 1964. So she developed computer data systems to support satellite control centers from 64 to 70. She oversaw the creation of the Landsat program, and she became an international expert in Landsat data products. So her work allowed other NASA scientists to be able to visualize Earth from space. Black American sister. And I'm looking at a picture of her in 1995. Now, she looks, let me see, 95, so she might have been, not sure how old she was then, but right now she's 81 years old, so she's still alive. Now, looking at this picture of the sister in 1995, they didn't talk to us about this lady in 1995. I was in school. I was in middle school around this time. And they never mentioned her. Never. They never mentioned her, not once. Now, in 85, she served as a project manager for SPAN, which was the Space Physics Analysis Network. That was from 1986 to 1990. Now, the Space Physics Analysis Network, which was SPAN, that became a major part of NASA's science networking in today's internet. And they say she also participated in projects related to Halley's Comet, ozone research, satellite technology, and the Voyager spacecraft. So she retired and was mentoring youth. So these are one of our good foundational Black Americans here in the States that put in good work, that changed the world. So we gotta give her her proper due and respect. Now, I'm gonna get into a lot of managed services stuff today as well. Things from personal experience, things that people have written me. We're gonna actually do a case study too. We're gonna do a good case study on why you shouldn't be that guy. And this is just a learning experience. This is a case study for y'all to just pick up a little bit of game. Why you shouldn't be this guy. And we'll get into that in a moment. But let me go down the list. And I want to talk about a certain managed service company. I'm not going to give them a name, but they're one of the largest. And one of the things that they were pitching in their new hire onboarding was, oh, they did so much work for Zimbabwe. They were giving bikes in Zimbabwe. And I kind of thought about, when they said that, the first thing I started thinking about is Zimbabwe's situation. What kind of condition is Zimbabwe? What kind of condition is black folks in Zimbabwe dealing with? How about you help get them to get the colonizers to return some of that wealth? That's the first thing that came in my mind. But I thought that was very interesting. Now, another thing that you guys may not know. Now, I was looking at this press release for a company called Randstad. Now, most IT professionals that know about Randstad, or people in general that know about Randstad, know that it was an agency, and it still is. Now, there was an article, and they took that off. I was just looking at this. Oh no, maybe they didn't. Hold on, let me see. Maybe they didn't take it off. Okay, no, they did not. Now, this is from August 2021, where it says Randstad USA joins 110 to advance black talent in the workforce. Now, I told you all about 110. Now, I hope you remind me on how 110 ties into Don't Be That Guy. I might have to fast track this real quick and tell this story, or just keep this article up. But Randstad basically said it deepened its commitment and skilling to programs of diversity and inclusion practices by joining the 110 initiative. So that's a coalition of companies that work to improve hiring, retention, upskilling, and advancement of black and African American talent without four-year degrees in the U.S. And the coalition aims to place 1 million individuals from underserved communities into family-sustaining careers over the next 10 years. Now, that underserved communities, there goes some of the weasel words. They don't really want to say black. Then they said, Randstad will help 110 achieve the goals the goals. Then down here it says Randstad excels at skilled workers and reaches underserved populations. Those are some of you guys got to watch those little words there. We're thrilled the company is joining to help displaced workers find meaningful employment. Says Maurice Jones, Chief Executive Officer of 110. Now here we go once again. That those words, 110 and Randstad share a commitment to provide minority applicants. So they start off with the word black. They said black and African American, whatever that means. But hey, if they gonna get some black folks some jobs, hey, you know, like I say, I tell black folks, check it out. Check it out. I really like that beat before. That was super dope. Now, to give you a little background on Randstad, it's a subsidiary of Randstad and EV. 20.7 billion I think that means $1 billion. I don't know. A global provider of flexible work and human resources services. Now, back in the day, we used to think of it as just like an agency. But man, they got a whole IT department, 5,700 associates, deploying a workforce of 86,000 people in the U.S. and Canada. In addition to staffing and recruitment, they offer outsourcing, consulting, workforce management solutions for generalists, specialist disciplines. Now that includes technology, engineering, accounting, finance, clinical, non-clinical healthcare, HR, legal, life sciences, manufacturing, logistics, office and administration, sales and marketing. Okay. And then 110, like I told you, basically they're supposed to be, and I'm gonna keep an eye on them. But so far it looks pretty cool. The websites ran on AI, finding careers. They got some pretty cool stuff. I might check it out again tonight myself. Now, what I did want to say as well is Randstad, they bought Monster for $429 million as recruitment consolidation continues. Now, this happened in August 9th, 2016. I didn't know that. I didn't really have the greatest experience with Monster. But yeah, they bought Monster for $400 million in cash. That was a smart move. That was a real smart move. And it's also smart with this Veritas move as well. There was a company called Cohesity that bought Veritas. Veritas was pretty much going downhill. Layoff after layoff after layoff. And I had a homie that was in there that basically sent me this and said, hey man, I think it's layoffs coming from the pipeline. And at Thomson Reuters, now this came out on February 7th, just a few days ago. SoftBank backed Cohesity to buy Veritas data security unit, create a $7 billion firm. So it says the U.S. data security software firm Cohesity told Reuters on Wednesday it agreed to acquire Veritas data protection business in a deal that values the combined entity at $7 billion. Now, months ago, I was telling my homie when he was telling me about all the layoffs and stuff like that, I said, man, they are going to use some kind of AI system. They're going to lay off a bunch of people. They're going to get a managed service thing, and somebody's either going to buy them for $16 billion or they're going to get them for a sharecrop deal. And I know that they got them for cheap. Now look, it says the cash and stock acquisition. Now remember, that was my prediction. My prediction was they were going to get bought cheap. I thought it was going to be $16 billion or something like that. Oh no. Maybe I was kind of doing my numbers wrong into what that company was really worth. I thought they was going to, because they got a great footprint. Now check this out. Now, the cash and stock acquisition is expected to help Cohesity, which is backed by Japan's SoftBank Group, achieve positive growth margins and expand into international markets. Cohesity CEO Sanjay Poonen said in an interview, adding that the firms together have $1.6 billion in annual revenue. So they're already doing pretty good. And look what he said. You've got the fastest growth on our side and the best profitability on their side combined together to be a profitable growth machine that's innovating with AI. San Jose, California-based Cohesity's AI-powered software helps organizations protect and manage their data against cybersecurity threats. It is also working with big tech in the adoption of generative AI to search and retrieve large amounts of data. So they raised $1 billion in equity, $2 billion in debt from investors, including Havily Investments, Premji Invest, and Madrona to help fund the deal. Now, Cohesity's takeover of the Veritas unit values the business at over $3 billion, including debt. Veritas is majority owned by private equity firm Carlyle Group, which acquired the company from Symantec in 2016. The Carlyle Group is a wealth management firm. They probably didn't really want to deal with it no more. And their CEO Greg Hughes will also join the board. So he ain't losing his job. And they're already going to be laying off tech support engineers left and right. The deal is expected to close by the end of the year. Now listen to this. Veritas will form a separate company that will comprise its remaining businesses, including data compliance and backup services. Now, let me tell you what they're going to end up doing. Because I seen on the other article exactly which ones that they're going to leave. Okay? Now check this out. Now, this is what the CEO also said. The focus of a Cohesity has been enterprise, and we will be putting companies together that we want to focus to keep on enterprise. We'll get to the mid-market later. He said, if you take on more than you could digest, it's a distraction. And that's probably where Veritas was going. So they said for our enterprise focus, NetBackup and Aptare and Alta are enterprise products. So that was the focus in the combination. Down here in this article, and this is from crn.com, February 9th. Data security technology developer Cohesity's planned $7 billion acquisition of the enterprise business of data protection powerhouse Veritas Software is not the biggest storage acquisition ever. That prize goes to Dell in its $63 billion acquisition of EMC in 2016. That said, Cohesity's planned acquisition of the Veritas enterprise business would rank as one of the top data storage acquisitions. So they got a big guy for a little buck probably. They probably said, all right, y'all are doing janky, but you got the economic footprint. I mean, you got all the customers. Now look what he said. Together, this is what the CEO said. Together, we will have 96% of the Fortune 100. So they just came in. They were trying to do what King's Landing was trying to do. Hey, you know what? We got the South. We want the North. We want the North. But we're going to need some strong allies to secure the North. And who were the strong allies to secure the North? You remember Roose Bolton. Roose Bolton was going to be named Warden of the North before his son Ramsey Bolton. Roose Bolton was going to be Warden of the North until his son Ramsey Bolton backdoored him. Let me use a little analogy for that. He said that customer base will allow us to create, I think, an iconic company. Cohesity's plan involves buying Veritas Enterprise business from its current owner, from Carlyle Group. So remember, I told you that Carlyle Group, I predicted Carlyle Group was going to pop them off. And they did. Now, the non-enterprise part of Veritas that Cohesity will not purchase will become a separate company that will be known as Dataco. So what's going to happen to all those technical support engineers and some of those backline engineers? Now, Veritas CEO Greg Hughes will serve as a Cohesity board member and strategic advisor to Sanjay Ponin after the acquisition is closed. So he's going to get some bread. Now, Cohesity, which seems to be on a path towards an IPO this year, is bullish on the acquisition, even if it means putting the IPO off until next year, Ponin said. Timing-wise, and this is what Ponin said, we're going to do this deal regardless of whether the IPO market was good or not. I think it's, what is that word? Fortuitous that the IPO market was somewhat tepid. For us, an IPO is just a milestone in creating a great company. We're trying to create collectively one day We're trying to create collectively what one day will be a $50 billion market cap company. That's never been done in this space. This is one of the most iconic deals that's ever been done in our space. Data protection and data security. Now, it says here are 7 things Poonen told CRN about the acquisition. Now, this goes deeper than that Reuters thing. All right. So they already talked about what their enterprise was. Both companies bring incredible innovation. It's actually quite complementary in many areas. For example, Veritas is a data backup product that can run on top of storage. A lot of data domain customers run Veritas on data domain. On Wednesday, I called Dell executives and said we're absolutely going to support that. And we're absolutely committed to that use case of net backup running on data domain. We don't do that today. A lot of customers want that. It's a more disaggregated sale. Now, Cohesity's product has been focused on a scaled architecture, hyperconverged for on-premise and cloud. Veritas has actually made more progress than us in areas of cloud native and data protection, software as a service solutions for things such as Google Workspace and Salesforce. We both do M365. Veritas has built their control plane on Azure. We build ours on AWS, so they're going to cover both parties. They want the South and the North. They want King's Landing all the way down, and then they want the North all the way to the wall. So he said, I called the Microsoft execs and said we're going to absolutely support Veritas' investment in Microsoft. We do security and AI. Together, we will have an engineering team that's double that of many of our competitors. All right, what else do they got? He said, I think we announced a transaction size of $7 billion, and our goal of both companies is to maximize shareholder value when eventually there's some form of liquidity, such as an IPO. Now, look at this here. So, okay, now they start talking about some of the numbers. They're in a stage of creating shareholder value over multiple years. So I view this as an opportunity for both of us to take that $7 billion, which is a higher number than many of our competitors are valued today, and get that to be twice that number when we potentially think about going public. So they're going to get their army together. They're stacking their military and they're getting their weapons up. Whenever those markets open up, I don't think this is a great year for IPOs, but once the transaction closes, we'll come back together and we'll integrate the companies. That's really where we want to be. And to all those interim aspects of valuation become just a small data point in a long-term valuation. So everything about what we do, and I think Greg would say the same thing if he was on the call, is about a long-term value creation. And I believe even including the new shareholders who are joining Carlyle, and I believe there'll be minority stakeholders in the company, they're also looking at this as ways to which they will create shareholder value. And in that long canvas, we believe our investors are going to do very, very well in their investment in this combined company. See, these folks don't just buy stuff to buy stuff. They know what they're doing. Now look at this. Net backup is the key component. We're buying the data protection business, including net backup software, net backup appliances, and associated software as a service data protection technology. So here, now this goes straight to your technical support engineers. They're buying net backup. They're gonna run this AI. They're gonna integrate all that. So who are they gonna need at this point? They said we're acquiring 4 key products that will combine with Cohesity: net backup appliances, Alta Cloud data management, and Aptera IT analytics. And we're combining that with Cohesity's data platform, and that combination will be the portfolio we bring to our customers. From my perspective, at the core, we're an enterprise company. As you know, we're focused on the enterprise. We already had about 44% of the Fortune 100 companies as customers. They said we'll get to mid-market later. Is this just repeating some of this stuff? So they see a big profit. They see a huge profit right here. Transaction expected to close in late 2024. Now look, general timelines, with me having been involved in many of these kind of deals, we say 6 to 9 months as it goes through the regulatory process. This is a smaller transaction than HPE's acquisition of Juniper on Synopsys' acquisition of Ansys. This is a very fragmented industry. You know, we're technically number 8 and Veritas is technically number 3 in the data protection market, according to ITC. Oh yeah, so they're trying to make it happen. So I've broken down and covered more than what this Reuters article covers. So I just kind of wanted y'all to just check that out a little bit. Now, I got some inside information. Allegedly, they say. On some managed service company for some level 1 support. They gave some of the new hire training. They talked about creating emails. Some people, they don't really know too much about creating emails. They'll just send an email. But in this, they want you to create a greeting, a body, and a closing. You see? They want you to create a greeting, a body, and a closing. Now I'm going to skim down here and talk about some other things that was reported to me. Now they were talking about active listening skills, where they said the average adult retains about 25% of what they hear. This means that 75% of the information a customer provides during a conversation will be lost. Now, active listening skills, these are the 7 key active listening skills that was provided to me that they look for, or that they will tell you. So the first one, going through 1 through 7, be attentive. The next one is ask open-ended questions. The next one is ask probing questions. The next one is request clarification. The 5th one is paraphrase. The 6th one is be attuned to and reflect feelings. And the 7 is to summarize. And that's what they were telling people on the new hire training for active listening skills. That's what I heard. Now, for those that have been in the game and for those that don't know, IT support is becoming very janitor driven, fast foodie. They want desktop techs to be consultants, damn near like BAs. And a lot of times for the sharecrop prices. And I'm seeing on a lot of these new hire trainings, not exactly sure if it's for immigrants or whatever the case is, it may be, but I keep hearing reports of new hire training talking about, bombarding people with training on English grammar. And a lot of these managed service companies, what they want to do is they want to make sure that their client is represented well. So I think they have all these little checkpoints of what they want you to learn and do and whatever the case may be. They want to say, okay, well, we want a polished professional individual that could come in, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, got good active listening skills. And that is going to go pretty soon into don't be that guy. I might name this Don't Be That Guy. I just might. Now, before we go on, I want to explain about 1099 subcontracting and unemployment that I found about. There was a myth going on that because you're a 1099 subcontractor, which will be self-employment, that you can't get unemployment benefits. And that's not true. On the Minnesota Unemployment Insurance website, I found that you're eligible for benefits for any week if you meet the first 3 requirements. If you work less than 32 hours, in any combination of employment, self-employment, or volunteer work, and earn less than your weekly benefit amount. So if you work less than 32 hours and earn less than your weekly benefit amount, you're eligible. If you look for a job as an employee by making diligent efforts to find job openings and contact potential employers. Now, seeking clients for your business does not count. The third, be willing to rearrange or quit self-employment activity if it interferes with accepting employment under the conditions normal for your usual occupation, work schedule, wages, and commute. Even if you meet the above requirements for a week, the system will deduct 50% of your earnings from your benefit payment. Then it goes on to talk about reporting earnings when requesting benefit payments, expenses allowed when calculating your net earnings. So they start talking about things that you can deduct. They say keep dated receipts, materials and goods purchased for self-employment, rented or purchased equipment needed for self-employment, advertising, web page creation, dedicated business phone, business postage, certain mileage at the IRS rate. Now here's what you cannot deduct: an office or workspace in your home or garage, which is crazy because you might work from home, a portion of your home mortgage, a computer and printer that gets personal use. Well, you can get another laptop, you just not use it. I don't know how they find out, but personal vehicle expense, personal utility phone and internet bills. So you have a separate phone, separate internet bills, educational and professional fees that you might also incur if you were an employee. Anything that gets regular personal use. Then it tells you how to calculate your business expense deductions. Now this isn't from me, this is from the Employment and Economic Development page from the state of Minnesota. So that's a myth. We just debunked it right here. That's a myth. You can be eligible for unemployment benefits while working in self-employment if you meet this criteria. Things may not be going well for you in your business, and you may have to actually take permanent work or contracting work that is not self-employed. Okay? So we've covered that. Now, when it comes to law, when complying to unemployment, I've talked about this before. When you're finishing a contract and you're asking, I believe it's weekly, I'm not sure, but you always want to ask the agency, hey, what else do you got? Do you have anything? And keep those emails that you've been asking them every week. Okay? Now, what's been happening lately with managed service providers, especially places like Ronstadt, they can hire for long-term contract / permanent roles. And what I mean by that is they don't want to give you the permanent benefits. So they want to give you a long-term role. They could be anywhere between 1 year, or it could be, and sometimes that could be cool if the rate's good, but they won't pay like a regular permanent job when it comes to paying for your benefits. Sometimes they try to avoid like that. They really try to avoid that. So we're going to get to don't be that guy in a little bit. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. I want to break down why is level 1 harder than all the others. Now, when I started my career, I started off really doing desktop support. And level 1 sometimes can get kind of crazy. And I'm going to tell why. We're going to break that down. All right. Took a little break real quick. Get my sparkling water. Not the greatest hydration source, but I enjoy it. It's one of my little vices. Too late to drink coffee. Hope y'all enjoying this. Really do. I appreciate what are we at 81 subscribers right now. We're building slow and a true core base. A slow and a true core base. That I could appreciate. I don't want thousands of people to just kind of just tune in from here and there and they're not getting anything out of it. That's not what I want. I want the slow grind. I want that iron built foundation of people that will come in here and they can spread a little information. That's what I want. That's what I would like to build. Why is level 1 harder than the others? Well, metrics, a lot of time it's non-stop. So level 1 help desk is like the yard. That's a weird analogy. Level 1 help desk is like the prison yard. You're coming in, you're green. You know, you got a business unit. You got a big business unit, a big building. And you're coming in, you're the new guy. You're getting hazed. You're kind of proving yourself a little bit. Nothing really makes a lot of sense. It's just a bunch of crazy processes. There's a lot of stuff where you're like, okay, why can't I just fix this? Why can't I just get this out the way? A lot of times the callers are abusive. You're dealing with people that should have a typewriter. Level 1 a lot of times now is what I call the burger and the fry council. There was a point where even level 1 and level 2, like help desk, desktop support, I'm talking about just fresh coming in the game. We used to be valued. You got multiple screens, multitasking, and root cause analysis a lot of times is not a factor. So you don't get time to dig in, even if you're a very analytical person. And it's tons of ever-changing processes. So if you ever done call center or come from a call center, you might as well just do the level 1 help desk and make a few more bucks. And then get you some type of cloud certification. Get into some AI stuff or Kubernetes or Docker or anything. And try to find you a software as a service company or somewhere where you could kind of hone your skills. Even if it's a managed service company, especially if it's a medium one or kind of small. Level 1 is like the graveyard for seasoned guys when work is not plentiful. It's one of those things where you might jump on something. Let's say you get laid off and you just want to be back to work. And if you gotta take something like a level 1, if you're not like a real cold cloud engineering guy, or whatever case you're in, it could be any situation. It's kind of like going back to flip burgers in a way. If you've been doing this for a while, that's how it feels. And they want an astronomical amount of information in a small amount of time. So if you ever hear the term glorified answering service, get in and get out. I'm talking to the new guys. I'm talking to the young people. Get in and get the hell out. You will not learn anything new, and there's not going to be a lot of configuration involved. You're not going to be able to expand your horizons. And I don't mean necessarily leave the company. I'm talking about get up in there, shake some elbows, start talking to some of the business analysts and be like, hey man, I'm trying to learn what you got going on. Can I get some game? Can I sit and soak up some of this game? Some of them may not want to give you some information, but a lot of them will. If you get somebody that doesn't want to share no information, that's a Bolton Ramsey. That's a scared dude. He's worried about his position. You don't want no game from him anyway. He's Bolton Ramsey. You ever watch Game of Thrones? He's Bolton Ramsey. He knows he's a bastard. He knows that his days could be numbered. He doesn't know what his position's gonna be because he's not the real deal Holyfield. So you want to be able to expand your horizons, and some of those environments won't do it if you're just saying, well, I'll just stay in the level 1. So if you're in a pinch and you got laid or fired, or okay, cool, you get whatever you could get, but don't make this long term if you got the power to stop it. Now I had a level tier 2 or 3. They called it 3. I guess it was 2. I mean, whatever. If they want to call it 3, they could take it 3. But they try to turn it into a bunch of metrics. And the truth is, they hired us to just be the cleanup men. They had no intention on contract to hire. That's another thing that you want to, that's another misleading concept that they say, contract to hire. There's some agencies that really do focus on that, but it's just cheaper to just contract you a lot of times. And it's misled. It's misleading when they say contract to hire a lot of times. Some companies will really do that, so they want to try before you buy. It's very common. Now, the company, they bought another company, and all was broken, and they probably got a good deal. And so they had all their teams working on the back end, doing API fixes system-wide. Now all the fixes are done. So they're like, okay, y'all can go. That's the logic. And managed service providing is the new normal now. They kept avoiding all the contract to hire questions. So my analysis for that is get in and get out. Now the new thing now is you got one big firm, and then they got another managed service provider, if so, supporting a customer. Now that's 3 people involved. Sometimes it's even more. So the agency or the managed service, they cut the check. Most of the time it's an agency that will look for somebody for the managed service, and then the managed service will just go and take they'll take like 3M or United Health Group, or they'll take Optum, or let's say they take Cargill, or they might take Walmart, or whatever the case may be. So you got 3-4 people in the middle of your bag, and they got somebody overseeing you. That's the new model, and it's tricky, and that's where your rates go, and it's common, and it's annoying, because the agency, a lot of times, they just want a body, and whatever the agency may say, they give you this little cookie cutter description of what you'll be doing, and 9 times out of 10, you won't be doing none of that stuff they say. You might be doing 3 things, but they just give them a very broad and ambiguous, they use, as Dr. Claude Anderson said, very broad and ambiguous terms, very vague. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's horrible. But you got to think of what your intentions is on what you're trying to do. What is your goal? What is your goal while you're there? And what is your goal for 6 months? And what is your goal for the next year to 5 years? How does that fit into your world? Because the MSP, they just want to please the client. And there's a lot of room for disorganization. And most of the time, the managed service company, they don't really care about how you're treated. You know? And a lot of times you might have a timesheet issue. It's a new way to avoid hiring directly, and it's a bad method to keep Americans on their feet. You know, going back to that timesheet issue, you got a bunch of timesheets that you got to fill out. I'm telling you, these are some horror stories that just been reported to me. So that's something to consider. I mean, once you're in there, I mean, like I say, you get used to it. You ain't tripping or whatever, but it's just, it's annoying. It's annoying by having to deal with all these different timesheets, because you have all these different companies reporting to other companies, and everybody got to have a timesheet. But that's the new thing they're doing in America to kind of kick Americans out. Like, well, we'll just go and get somebody in the Philippines or get all these H-1B visas. To me, it's like the H-1B visa scam. And they can hire 2 or 3 guys from India for the price of you. Now, desktop, a lot of times, is always level 2. And that's how I started. So I implore all of you to consider migration and deployment when starting. If you could get some stuff, even if you're like installing routers or switches or any of those things. The routers and switches, now let's get into the data center cabling. That's like learning a trade. They're going to need for people like that no matter what. Now, help desk gives you a broad spectrum of the business. You deal with everybody. It's about numbers and business units. And with desktops, that's kind of on your way to sysadmin. You might as well say the cloud nowadays. Don't even bother with the A+. And that was the usual path. Desktops are servers, but now the desktops are usually VDI. It's going to be something with a cloud. The desktop is going to be streamed. Also, as a desktop person, you might work with mobile devices. That can get you into MDM positions. Intune, AirWatch, you dealing with phones, no desktops. And you get somebody asking you about their laptop, you can send them to the help desk. If you're doing mobile device management and they asking you about, hey, I need you to do this for my laptop and this, that, and the third, you can send them to the help desk. Because hey, I'm mobile device management. And there's a lot of different ticketing systems that you could learn that you might see in some of these environments, such as HP Service Manager, that's pretty old. ServiceNow is industry standard. People still got ShareWell. A lot of managed service companies that are like medium-sized got ConnectWise. And then people still got Remedy. And then you might have Avanti, Neutron. People might have that. Now, we're getting close to don't be that guy. I'm not letting y'all have me forget. But I want to decode a response from an employer that got sent. Remember that role that I had interviewed for? And I wanted to give y'all an example. So they said, thank you for taking time to interview for the blank engineering role. We appreciate your interest in joining the team. We are currently in the offer stage. So should anything change or another becomes available that aligns with your skill, we will reach out to you. We appreciate the time. They said another. Usually people say another role, but they can say another. We appreciate the time and effort you invested and appreciate your patience. Thank you so much. All right. So this is decoded. So many companies, they don't have the decency to keep you up to date. So I emailed them like, hey, what's going on? They weren't going to say anything until maybe later. And I just want to kind of follow up, like, what's going on? And they, a lot of times they'll send out some little BS generic response. Now, this person inquiring, or, I had to reach out for the updates, and their company's response was in so many words. So we're offering someone else this position. I'm decoding the statement right now. So we're offering someone else the position, and if they don't want it, we'll call you back as the wingman. We didn't think this position aligned with your skills. Good luck. So here's my analysis on that. If they do reach back out to you, demand the highest price within the range that you gave them. Because what they try to do to you is they try to do to you like an old girlfriend and bid up their price after the last guy dumped her. Now that's an insult to you, to your skills, your time, energy, and abilities. Well, I went out into the marketplace. I tested the waters, and I couldn't really get what I thought I could get. I'm not really getting what I'm thinking I could get out here. So she's coming back to you talking about, well, let me just hit you on the rebound. And you're like, oh, no. So here's what you could do. If you want the offer, you can take it. And if the other position, because like I say, you always want to juggle your eggs. You don't want to have one egg. Have a few. Never have just one. If that's your prerogative, don't have one. It doesn't make logical sense to just interview one place. No, you keep interviewing. And if the other position you truly want, if you have another position that makes you an offer, you string that first one along. The game is fair. See, they do it all the time, but they don't want us to do it to them. And then if for some reason you don't like that, now the same one that I just mentioned, this first one that said, hey, we got somebody else on the pipeline, and that person, it happens all the time. Somebody might say, they might take the offer and then they just withdraw. They don't want to deal with it anymore. They just may not like it. They might get what they really wanted, and then now they come back to you. So like I say, I'd raise the price. If you gave them a range between, well, let's just say you gave them a range between 75 to 85, right? And you figured that they'll come back to you with 80. Now they're okay with that range. They took 75 to 85 and they were okay with that. So you got to think, time is money. They've already offered that other person something, and if they're coming back to you after they said they weren't interested in you, that means it didn't work out with the other person. The other person probably either quit or they found something else. They're playing the same game we all playing. Okay? Now, we're getting to that guy. Don't be that guy. We're getting there. We're almost there, y'all. We're almost there. Matter of fact, let's save that. We're going to save that. We're going to save that position that I was getting ready to kind of break some stuff down to. And with no further ado, let's go to why you don't want to be that guy. Let's go to that. Now, there was a dude. And like I said, this is a case study. We're not down to the brother. We just gonna be straight up and down tonight. There was a dude that went to some janky IT training program in Minneapolis. I'm not gonna name them. I'm not even gonna name what side of town they were on. And I really should, but I'm not gonna do that. Because there might have been a few brothers and sisters that got something out of it. So I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But this place strikes to me like a lot of these other IT training programs where when they hear about government grants or a bunch of black folks are in a certain side of town, and soon as they hear about some money, they come in like vultures, and then what they do is they whip up some old cookie cutter program. You look on the curriculum, they use all these very broad and ambiguous terms, IT support, blah blah blah. They don't really get into the details on what you're actually going to be learning. So when I came back, somebody referred this guy over to me. Now, I should have really took a Zoom call on this dude and sent him to my website and say, man, grab the books, man, and copy down some notes and just take it from there. Email me if you got a few questions or whatever the case may be. That's what I should have did, but I didn't. I went against my better judgment and I started. The brother sent me his resume. I crafted it. I said, take this away, take that away. Got them together. Now, given that I'm looking at the resume and he says he has manager experience, just as a resume standpoint, it should be better than that. So I had some questions right off the bat. I said, okay, I'm going to give the dude the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to try to look out for him anyway. So when I got the resume together, sent it back, started sending him all these positions. Hey, stuff that, if somebody else didn't want, or, you're fresh in the game. Okay. Now, every time I started, and I sent him to 110. There was a good brother I talked to over there at 110. There was a good brother from Washington, D.C. that I talked to from over 110. I sent him over there. I didn't hear no confirmation that he called him. I don't know if the brother's not over there anymore. I think what I'm going to do is give that brother a call, and I'm just going to check him out and see, is he still over there? Because, a lot of times with these little, like I say, these little black organization roles or some of these companies, when they come through and they got something that's supposed to be for black folks, the funds start drying up. Funds start getting misappropriated sometimes. I'm just saying, I'm just talking about the pattern. This is usually what happens. I'm not saying nobody took none. I'm just saying this is what happens. We all know it. We all know how a lot of this stuff happens when they start mentioning specific stuff for black folks. The money starts getting weird. The program starts shutting down and all that. But anyway, it looks like the program's still up. So I sent that brother over there. Didn't get a call back. No confirmation that he talked to the brother over there in D.C. So I said, okay, well, maybe the brother's not there. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But every time I started sending folks over to this dude, all the time, I done sent him over to 15, 20 positions. I said, apply here, apply there, apply here, apply there. He wasn't getting nothing back. I sent him over to a recruiter that I talked to for a respected firm in the city of Minneapolis. I'm not going to say their name either. What I will say is the other people that I sent to this respected firm, they got some get back. Somebody called them. The lady called them and talked to them and everything. Mysteriously, and I'm going to say it, this nigga didn't talk to her. So I started wondering, okay, did she not call him? Because she talked to the other people. I said, okay, all right, bet. Okay, so I said, all right, cool. So I'm taking a tally out of all these places that I done sent this dude, out of all these people that I hooked up. And I said, you know what? Let me holler at maybe it's just it gets competitive out here because it's different. It's a little different than it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. I noticed that. So I said, all right. Maybe it's just the resume doesn't look appealing enough. Maybe he doesn't have enough experience. This dude says he knows this, that, and the third. And I said, all right. So I said, all right. Maybe you haven't been in tech before. You're fresh. You're fresh in the yard. You just walked off the bus. You about to walk into the compound. You fresh on the yard. You don't know much. All right, I'm gonna give this dude the super benefit of the doubt. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done it, but I did it anyway. I said, let me reach out to some of my contacts at some of these Fortune 500 joints to try to really help this brother out. Maybe he just needs a mock interview. Okay. And what a mock interview is, you get somebody that just asks you questions. It's a fake interview. And then they just tell you at the end of the interview, hey, this is what you need to work on. Now, these people, I'm not going to say the names of where they work, but these two brothers they were in some of the top flight from Fortune 500s. I'm talking about they were in the places where you're trying to be at. So initially, and this was basic email etiquette, the brothers was like, look, tell him to send over his updated resume and the copy of the job descriptions that he's applying for. Okay? So it's 5 days later. I had to reach out to him, I had to reach out to this nigga again and say, did you send a copy of the resume with the job descriptions that he's applying for so they can have an idea? These brothers ain't got a bunch of time to waste. They're in top shelf positions. They don't got time to waste. They're doing you a solid. He finally replies back with the jobs that he applied for and the resume. But he didn't copy all. When you're in a conversation in email, and I'm talking to some of the young brothers now, when you're responding to several people in an email chain and you're supposed to respond to all three of those people so everybody could be all on one accord, you do reply all. You should know that. We in the TikTok age. You should know that. But since you don't know that, so I said, we'll just reply to all. So then he did it. Then they decided on a time that they would meet. It took days for him to respond for that. That's what I'm saying. With this kind of stuff, you need to respond in a decent time, in a decent order. You need to respond in a decent time, in a decent order. So he didn't do that, so when they finally got on the phone, do you know this Negro? He told the brother, now keep in mind again, these are top shelf dudes. These are dudes that could mentor you. They could help you with your resume. Now keep in mind, they didn't already looked at his resume. They didn't charge him. They had already looked at his resume and told him what he needs to do. And I hooked it up for him. Do you know that this Negro, when the brother got on the phone with him and he was trying to give him the mock interview, his attitude was, I don't need a mock interview. I just need a job. And he couldn't even answer the first question that the brother asked. Tell me about yourself and why you think you're a fit for the role. So I got super pissed off. So I basically told the brother, man, I apologize, man. That won't happen again. I said, I'm going to start vetting these people. And I'm going to start asking those questions first before I even, it's a good, solid feeling that you could get some folks from some big companies that you have access to that might actually be able to help you and give you some pointers, and they don't really have a lot of time. And like, you hear what the brother said. It was a waste of my time. He couldn't even answer one question. Now, what makes you think you're going to get an IT job with moving around like that? So, we putting it out there, man. We going to keep it honest on this channel. This ain't one of them other, no. So I reached out to the dude. I emailed him. And I basically told him, hey man, I was given the impression that you didn't want to have the mock interview. And I let him know, hey, this was a top level manager that's in places that you want to be that gave you that interview. And from what I understand, you couldn't answer the questions he had. Because remember, he didn't already agreed to do it. He could have told us this before. So this nigga says, to be frank, I'm not looking to do a mock interview. I can answer those questions, but I don't see the need. I got responsibilities to take care of. So I wasn't conforming to those answers he had. I felt like it was a waste of my time when I don't know how to handle. I know how to handle myself in an interview. And I'm like, dude, you work at a fucking nursing home. If you knew how to get an interview and how to handle these interviews in IT, you would have already had a job. You wouldn't have to reach out to us. I couldn't believe it. Don't be that guy, y'all. So I basically told him, and then he says, well, they're going to train you on these jobs anyway. Yeah, they're going to train you processing stuff. But the thing is, man, you don't even know how to do reply all on an email. Go to Five Guys. You ain't cut out for this, man. Because number one, your spirit ain't in the right direction. You came to us because you needed some support. Somebody sent you to us. Because the thing is, wherever you were at before, you weren't able to do it. And so I told him, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. You ain't got no tech experience. And you don't know who that man knows. And I told him, I've been doing this for over a decade. I got a couple hundred people or so certified, hired, and trained. They're not gonna train you on everything when it comes to this. Good luck, nigga. Yeah. So I guess maybe he thought about it days later and realized what he done did. And he said he emailed me saying everybody needs a chance. And, I did 5 months of some program. And once I'll get a job, I'll still be a student. Man, look. So, yeah, I'm just telling y'all, he's done. He ain't getting no IT job. He ain't getting in. He gonna keep working at his little hotel or wherever he works at or whatever. He ain't getting in. And I'm definitely not gonna help. I'm not sticking my neck out again. But I've dealt with folks like that before. This isn't an issue with what industry you're in. This is a personal issue. Because just how you comported yourself on that email. Let me tell you the number one points here where you messed up. Number one, you say you're a manager and you manage people. Now, you don't sound like you manage much. Because managers can't conduct themselves like that. You know, you might have managed some fast food or something like that. I don't know what you manage because they don't conduct themselves like that. That's number one. Number two, when somebody's giving you people to reach out to, you reach out to them. Don't be that guy, y'all. Number three, after you agree to locking down somebody else's time, you don't start talking about, well, what's a waste of time for you and I just need a job or whatever the case may be. You can't even communicate correctly. I'm talking about technically. You can't even communicate correctly. And we could clearly see by how your resume looks, you couldn't get that together to be able to get whatever you needed. So that shows us that you've been a problem a long time ago. And you buttered up enough people to basically say, well, hey, I need help with this. And somebody referred you to us, like, okay, whatever the case may be. Things are different now, y'all. When I was kind of helping folks with recruiters and agencies and stuff, I'm telling you, a lot of these folks, man, with these H-1B visas and these offshore accounts, these folks in India, Philippines and stuff, man, these companies are hiring a lot of this through managed service company left and right. So you're going to have to bring something new and fresh to the game. Like I said, if you're doing like a project manager or like a business analyst position or whatever the case may be, you may want to come in with that projector. You may want to do things that other people, now a lot of times it's going to be a remote interview, but if you got to go in, some companies still want you to come in. And if you come in, if they want you to come in, it may not be a remote interview. They may want people all to be together, but so many people are working hybrid now, it'll probably be a remote interview. If it's not a remote interview, even if you're at home, it would be probably hard to get the camera up or whatever, but you could actually come up with a projector or say, hey, let me share my screen and let you know. You could present that kind of way. You could be innovative. But don't be that guy, y'all. And it ain't, it's definitely not a situation where we're tearing nobody down. We're just holding the mirror up. This is you, bro. This is you. And you don't want to be that. I don't think I've ever told anybody coming up in the game when I started. I don't think I've ever told anybody I don't need this. I don't need no mock interview. I don't think I've ever reached out for help. And see, I didn't have that impression. So what it is you've kind of slithered and snaked your way around people to where they feel comfortable. So they're sending you positions. They doing this, they doing that. They're doing all kinds of extra stuff and just trying to help you out. On the word of somebody else, on the word of a good brother. I didn't need you. I'm in there. I done already built my accomplishments up. I'm not saying I won. I'm just saying I didn't need your help. I don't need nobody's help really to get where you trying to get. I done surpassed that. I don't need nobody to help me with my resume really all like that. And guess what? I still send my resume to some of my colleagues that have surpassed me. Hey man, what you think about this? What would you do about this? And able to take constructive criticism. I still do that. And as a manager, that's something you should be able to do. So I'm just showing this as a case study for you, for the young guys and girls. Don't be that guy. You end up in a janky position. And see now, because things are even getting jankier economically in the economic scale, these positions, man, these, like I said in the last broadcast, and I think I'm going to have to load that up. I'll work on that tonight, but I had a broadcast that didn't get on YouTube for whatever reason. Let me go to my YouTube channel, y'all. Give me a second here. Because something, it went on Podbean. It went on Podbean, but it didn't. Okay, so the last couple of ones I did. Okay, hold on. Okay, so y'all see my story time about number munchers and why I wrote these books, and my Bluetooth headset review and API so the last, too technical. That was 3 weeks ago. Oh, geez. Okay. Hold on, y'all. Wait a minute. There's something else that I did, but it didn't. It must have got on Podbean. All right, wait a minute. Let's take a look at it. Hold on. Let's see what happened. Currently no episodes. Okay, what happened here? I'm probably going to have to, let's see what happened, y'all. Sometimes YouTube doesn't post my stuff. So let's just see what happened. All right. Okay, yeah, The Thinker. Okay. Now I did one a couple weeks ago that didn't upload called The Thinker. So I'm going to work on that tonight. getting that up when I'm done with this. I'm not exactly sure why. What happened to it? It says last week. Okay, last month. Where is this? I don't know. Okay, so that one was recorded on the 1st of February. And it's 15 minutes. So that's a WAV file. So I don't know what that is. Well, there was an episode that I did, and it didn't upload to YouTube, y'all, and it kind of slipped my mind, called The Thinker. And I don't know what happened. I don't know why I did that, but I'll work on posting that so y'all can have that as well. Okay, so, but yeah, now think about this for a moment, y'all. This is how you block your blessings. Okay? You do stuff like that. You do little janky stuff like that. And so I was still, at that point, still trying to say, well, man, maybe he's young. Then I said, nah. I went back and looked at the brother's resume. I said, nah, he's just a dumbass. He's just goofy. Because you're too old to be doing stuff like that now. When I said good luck, I don't mean good. I really didn't mean good luck like, oh, I hope everything works out for you. It was like, yeah, this is, go to Burger King. It was kind of like that. Because even when I was just asking questions, I could just tell through the tone of the email, it was disrespectful. You didn't just disrespect me, you disrespect other people. That's how I had to start kind of tightening up my game. Start putting little vetting procedures. I'm gonna have to start putting a little bit more vetting procedures on who I give people contacts to. And it's not like I'm the Pablo Escobar of technology. You see what I'm saying? I don't have unlimited resources and distribution points where, I just make one call and you just walk in the door and everything just works. The issue is this. You don't have any connections, because if you did, you wouldn't need me. So you reached out to me through other people, and I said, yeah, I'll help the brother for sure. There's no harm on my back. He may not look for certain positions. He doesn't. I mean, you could throw it on Indeed. He didn't do that. He didn't put his resume on Indeed. He didn't even get a LinkedIn. You see what I'm saying? So these are just little basic stuff that he didn't know. We can help you do all that, brother, because you didn't know. It's not something that, it's not rocket science. You can just, but if you don't know how to formulate it, or you don't know how to format it, we're going to get your format together. But when you start talking like that, you see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, okay, I'm going to start vetting folks. I don't have these problems that too often. This ain't a me issue. This is a you issue. I've had a couple issues like that where, hey, we ain't going to look out for him. But usually I don't have that issue. So this doesn't have to do, this ain't a technical issue. It's not a me issue. This is a personal issue. This is the issue that you had. Don't be that guy, y'all. Don't be that guy where people try to help put you in good positions and help get some good people around you. And you all high and mighty talking about what you know and what you know how to do, and you don't know shit. Don't do that. Because I'm looking at this right here, right? They had a position. Now here was the plan. This was the idea that we were gonna do. Yeah, you went over to that little janky IT place. You say you know PowerShell, etc., blah blah blah, but your resume doesn't reflect that. And the place that sent you to me, we're looking at it from a standpoint like, well, they don't really know what they're doing over there. They look like they just getting people in, taking their money and pushing them on. They don't do any IT placement, no resume review, because look how your resume left. So I said, okay, let's get this brother together. I said, all right, here's the plan. You might be able to take some really level 1 or low tech experience, even if it's a little BS call center, just for a few months. He was open to that. And I found someone that was paying $25, $30 an hour. I said, okay. They never called him back. Back to back. None of these people he didn't get in contact with. So I started wondering, well, is he even calling these people? Because see, here's the thing. This position that I'm getting ready to read to you, this would have been a perfect position to get into. And this has been a number of months we've been working to try to get this brother on. They remember that Egan position that I wrote in my second book, where I had got my homie over. I'm just gonna say where it is, Northrop Grumman. I got my homie over there some years ago. He did like a 3-year contract or something. Well, they call it Enterprise System Monitoring Tech. It's in Egan. It's really for the post office. And it was a 7-month contract with a possible extension. Hybrid, remote, 2 days a week. They only wanted a high school diploma or 5 years additional experience or a bachelor's in minimum 1 year IT experience, help desk, basic understanding of Windows and Linux. I said, okay, you got a certificate. Go ahead and look at that Linux stuff. And I sent him some cybersecurity. I sent him a cybersecurity certification that he could have knocked out in a month. He still didn't do it. You see what I'm saying? This is all in the midst of stuff. I didn't check to see if it was done, but I know it wasn't done because you would have let me know you did it and we could have threw it on your resume. We could have got you in here possibly for, $28 an hour or something. Don't be that guy, y'all. Don't be that guy. Now check this out. I was looking at something the other day, and this is why you don't do stuff like this, because this is how competitive it is being. Now, this is a position right here for a software as a service company. I just want y'all to see what they're doing now. This is why you don't want to be that guy. Man, this position pays a base salary for $27 an hour, y'all. And look at the hiring procedure. 30-minute interview with a member of the talent team. 1 hour Zoom interview with the hiring manager. A skills assessment. That's 2 hours. So now, y'all, remember, we're at 2 or at 3 hours. That's 3.5 hours. That's 3.5 hours. That's half a day. Now, it may not be all at once, but I'm just saying this is half a day. So where you're working your other job or doing whatever you do, you got to take time out of your day, all these different times. 30-minute interview, 1 hour Zoom interview with the hiring manager. So you ain't getting past, now this right here, this 30-minute interview with a member of our talent team, let's go back. Remember when dude talking about, I just need a job, I don't want to answer them questions? You can't even answer those questions to an IT director, a top shelf dude. You can't even answer that. Like he asked him one question and he couldn't get any further than that. Nigga, you ain't gonna make it past the talent team. You ain't gonna make it past the talent team in this environment, in this environment. Flip a burger. I'm telling you, this is what they're doing with a lot of these positions now. 30-minute interview with a member of our talent team, and this dude talking about what he ain't gonna do. You ain't even gonna make it past the recruiting agency, the recruiter, the talent acquisition specialist. This is the first piece. Then you got a 1 hour Zoom interview. That's the hiring manager. Then you got a skills assessment. Then you got peer interviews with several team members where you get some trailer trash Bob that comes in there asking you a bunch of stupid ass questions. And do you watch Supernatural, or do you watch Game of Thrones? And if they don't like you, you ain't getting past. Several of their team members, can you work with these dudes? Can you work with this little quirky dude? Then you got the final call with the executive team members. That's what I'm saying. This dude, I'm telling y'all, and see, this isn't just him. We're not talking about him. We're talking about a mentality. Don't be that guy, y'all. You ain't gonna make it in this. That's only $27 an hour, man. And I looked at the company. It's a damn good company. It's a damn good software as a service company. They really ain't paying that much. But that's what you got to get. Now that's one of their positions. I'm just saying that's just one of their positions, okay? Now that's one of them. Now they had some heavy hitting ass ones. They had some ones in there for 85, 100, 130. I think I seen one for 200K. Now of course you're gonna need a crap load of experience. They're not just gonna hire a little smoke Joe. They definitely wouldn't give it. They wouldn't even give the dude that was giving us all that crap. They wouldn't even give him 5 minutes for some of those positions that pay 80,000. He wouldn't even get. They wouldn't even look at his resume. They just click delete. But I'm just saying, something like this, the one for 27, he probably could, because sometimes they just like you. They just like the person or whatever. But you ain't gonna get by with that attitude. Now, there's something that I found out about, but I think you got to pay for it. But they said that it's been seen on Fox Business, CNBC, US Today, Wall Street Journal, CNN, flexjobs.com, y'all. They find genuine remote jobs at companies. So they basically verify that it's a remote job. They verify all that stuff. And the first thing I did, I wanted to look into it and say, well, tell me about the company. I really like the soundtrack. Let me turn this up a little bit. I'm loving this. Oh yeah, this sounds good. So it says apply to jobs. Contact us. Okay, now you know what I do. This is what I do. Now they got some partner sites. A+ Better Business Rating. So I'm trying to find, okay, contact us. Okay, career flex jobs. All right, now I want to see what is this company about. Now they're headquartered in San Juan, Puerto Rico. They got a headquarters in India. They got a headquarters in Poland. Or the Poland remote, United States remote. So under Puerto Rico, they got a treasury analyst position open, operations coordinator, public relations associate, public relations specialist, senior Salesforce developer. This is at bold.com, so I guess that's their subsidiary. Then in India, I bet it's going to be a bunch of software engineering jobs. Yep, data science software engineer, data science architect, director of engineering, .NET platform engineering, PHP software engineer, a bunch of software engineers, full stack, data analyst. Left and right, UI, project lead, project director, site reliability engineer, DevOps, delivery network, systems senior system engineer, site reliability engineer, module lead UI, Jira admin, senior QA engineer. This is all in India, y'all. All in India. All in India. Then in Poland, SEO associate, Portuguese content writer, manager of digital PR, product manager. These are all the people that work behind Flex Jobs. So they're a viable company. You got to look at some of these companies and see what go to their About Us and career page. What are they hiring? Okay, you know that this might be a 20, 30, 40, 60, $100 million company. Look what they're hiring. Look what they can pay. But flexjobs.com, you might want to check that out and see what all the remote positions are. Something else I found out about, y'all might want to check out. This looks very constructive. Blacks in Cybersecurity Headquarters. So if you go to blacksincyberconf.com, so blacksincyberconf.com, it's a sister that founded it, and it's for black folks in cybersecurity. And if you type in the word Georgia Cyber Warfare Range, that's basically a group of brothers and sisters that really help you get your cyber game up. Now the website looks a little weird because they're cybersecurity people. But if you go to GA, now you want to Google Georgia Cyber Warfare Range. We provide resources to enable future and current technology professionals. So it's a free membership. And They offer resources for cybersecurity professionals looking for real-world live fire training and practice in red and blue team activities. To these dudes, this is a beautiful website. Now, it says it's not secure, of course, but if you go to gacwr.org, that's their website. So they use OpenNuba, Kunta Labs, okay, Hacker Combat, Cold Merc, Sayroom, Rap Bars for NFTs. You could tell that they're the real deal, and their partners is Cyversity, National Cyber Warfare Foundation, and Blacks in Cybersecurity. These dudes are the real deal. This is the black, this is the Wakanda Navy SEAL. This is, I'm telling you, yeah. You get with some of these brothers and sisters, they gonna get you together. Then they got a community pass, and then you could get a Pro Ranger membership for $240 a year for the price of a pair of Jordans, or going to the club 3-4 times. Man, look, you can get some brothers and sisters behind you, you know, and get a real community of folks that really want to help you, man. Now, like I say, I don't get behind stuff unless I think it's something, you know, that's very beneficial and official. But I could tell these brothers and sisters, they created this because a lot of times we're shut out. We're shut out, and you're around folks that don't want to help you learn or whatever. But you gotta get on top of your game with these folks. You gotta come in there. I'm telling you. You got to come in there and you got to do your thing. But they got conferences that they have and stuff. So no, I could tell these some good folks you should definitely check them out. Blacks in Cybersecurity. Be that guy. Be that guy, y'all. Be the person that wants to. Now see, I would have went further and I would have introduced this dude to this group. Even places like that, we see black folks. What we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to start safeguarding our people from mess like that. Some companies reaching out to me for a Salesforce position. Okay, we could talk about it and see what they talking about. What's the rates? Is it remote? What they talking about? Okay. All right, yeah, we could talk. You talking about? All right, okay. Yeah, we could talk. We could definitely talk. We can see what they're talking about. So that's another thing I'm gonna do, and you know I think I'm gonna do it tonight. Why should I wait? I'm gonna do a video just showing y'all a couple different things on Salesforce, Trailhead. And maybe what I should start doing is we just learn together, because I haven't touched Salesforce in a while. Maybe I should jump in there, man, and just start doing some ODS stuff. Maybe I should start streaming some things and how to do certain things with fields and messing around with the UI and lightning and all of that. It's been a while. But what we're going to have to start doing, brothers and sisters, we're going to have to start safeguarding each other. When that dude pulled that mess, I went right back to the brother that worked for one of them big companies, the director, and I said, man, we apologize. I told him, I said, that dude really pissed me off. I said, this ain't gonna happen again. Because what we've done is we've ruined another brother's time. And what we're gonna have to start doing, not just politically, physically, economically, spiritually, whatever, we gonna have to start banning off-code behavior. We gonna have to start banning off-code behavior, y'all. If it's off-code, we gonna have to start doing away. We gonna have to start doing away with folks that waste each other's time and do things that are disrespectful. We just gonna have to say, we ain't dealing with you. You can't get our support. See, other societies, the dominant society and other people, when they start doing off-code stuff, they don't get support. When they do stuff that goes against the grain, they don't get any support. None. They get ostracized. We're going to have to start doing that. When we start having situations where brothers start looking out for other brothers and they start doing backstabbing, that's backstabbing. You don't waste my time. You don't waste that brother's time, and then you want to clean it up at the very end because you realize what you did because you might have been drunk or high or whatever was going on. No, we not gonna play that. That ain't happening. So what we'll do is we'll reserve all this constructive energy and we'll warn younger brothers and sisters about this kind of stuff that goes on. Because I'm pretty sure that, y'all have dealt with it before. So you're going to see this in different pieces of your life or whatever, and you're going to know how to deal with it. But I was just kind of breaking down. Hey, yeah, I used to deal with folks like this sometimes when I used to be doing tech training. Man, I don't need to know this. I don't need to know that. But yet and still they're sitting in front of you because see, they're not open to open up their mind. And that don't happen a lot, but it happens enough to where it's problematic. It's problematic for me to speak on it and be passionate about it. So what we're going to have to start doing is we're going to start having to cover up our young people and encouraging them to be able to empower themselves through cybersecurity and constructive efforts, and having a group of black folks that want to stay on code and want to move forward with whatever you're trying to do. That's what we're going to have to do. And see, just me bringing up that story, that's enforcing the code of conduct. I'm enforcing it. I'm enforcing the code of conduct. Now, let me see if there was anything else. Matter of fact, there was a couple different things. I'll apply for that later. There was a couple different things that I forgot to cover. Now, there was a medical company that I applied at. I won't say what they were, but even some of these medical places now, they're saying they require employees with any on-site access be vaccinated during flu season. Now, okay. Maybe I read this wrong. It said it's not applicable to fully remote employees, but note that if any remote employee is to perform work at a facility owned or managed by another organization, the employee may be required to comply with the organization's vaccination policy. Now, that includes the flu and the vid. So some of these places are still making that requirement. More so, I think, with medical and the federal, and a lot of nurses and a lot of the whistleblowers and the doctors that have been fighting against that. I'm glad that they are, because remember, before they were sending the jab out to everybody, those same doctors and those nurses that were risking their lives, they didn't have the jab at the time, and it was good enough around the time when they were saving lives. So now that they say they don't want to take that crap and they want to have their religious rights or whatever, their medical rights, you're still telling them, well, it's not good enough. You see what I'm saying? It's not good enough. But anyway, that was for a job application. Now let's get into the bread and the butter. And shout out to my homie Titan for sending me this, because I told him I'm going to have a field day with this one. Now this is from Xbox. Now I thought it was a troll at first, but it looked real. And Xbox said on Facebook, "Thank you to all the black developers, the creators and players who add so much to gaming all year long." Now remember, Dr. Mark Dean that created the IBM and the PCI, the ISA architecture. This brother, he developed the ISA bus. So all you Billy Bobs and you race soldiers that are upset, you wouldn't even have a video card if it wasn't for this brother. And Xbox had on news.xbox.com, they had something that said Xbox celebrates Black History Month with support of black creators, players, and culture of inclusion. So Xbox said, please be patient as we work to ignore all your racist comments. Now, I don't know. They might have hired a brother up there to kind of, but they got the red, black, and green, and, and that really rubbed the race soldiers the wrong way, man. Oh, Basement Bob, that probably don't got a girlfriend. Yep, Xbox celebrates Black History Month. I might use this image. It's kind of dope. I just might use it. So it looks like they had a sister here that wrote a blog on Microsoft. So look, they got the Gerald A. Lawson Fund. Now that's a scholarship. Now remember, Gerald A. Lawson was the brother that pioneered work in the video game industry for removable game cartridges. So if you played Nintendo, if you played Super Nintendo, if you played any of that, that brother had something to do with it. The Gerald A. Lawson Fund for Black and Indigenous Students. Black and, well. So, yeah. The Gerald A. Lawson Fund. Artist Cliff Wilson shares Xbox logo design inspiration for Black History Month. In celebration of Black History Month, Xbox commissioned Cliff Wilson to design the artwork for this year's campaign. Now, this brother's a 25-year-old black-taught, self-taught digital designer, born and raised in Prince County, Maryland. So this brother might be from Baltimore. In recent years, his fascination with Afrofuturism has inspired his design work. So he designed the Xbox logo for Black History Month. Yeah, black folks, we are very resilient people. We damn near created everything, and all the stuff we did create, a lot of it we didn't get credit for. So let's go back down to the comments when they're posted on Xbox. So it says, please be patient as we work to ignore all your racist comments. So some dude named Seth, he says, next month will be for whites, right? So this is one of those, that's a long time ago. That's one of those Rosewood, that nigga got a piano type of race soldiers. Basement Bob, 4chan, his AR-15, his little Xbox. He probably ain't washed his ass in 16 hours. I'm not going to leaving the house, so I'm not going to wash my ass. Sitting in his mom's basement. He's the one that be on Xbox calling people the N-word. So Xbox responded, yes. We'll talk about their role in slavery, colonization, torture, the burning of cities, Jim Crow segregation, and police brutality. So Seth says, yeah, definitely switching to PS. So he wants to act like he wants to threaten and withdraw his membership and go to PlayStation. So PlayStation responded, says, Seth, great. Can't wait for you to see our post about Black history. So, like I said, man, we may not have as much money as everybody else, but I'm telling you, folks better be careful if black folks get on code. Black folks get on code, man, and we'll shake the damn world up. We make the world interesting. We make the world interesting in every aspect. And I'm just not talking about foundational black Americans here, the descendants of slaves. Black people around the world make the world interesting. And the black folks here, when it comes to music, culture, we make shit super interesting. But black folks around the world, we make stuff interesting. And if we really want to, don't play no games. If you look, we can make it even more interesting. If you want to play, we could make it super interesting. But we just really want to be left alone. But we can make it even more interesting. Okay? So, but no, we give it that sauce. We give it that sauce. So, Seth, he's just one of the millions of race soldiers that be in, and that video game community it's a lot of it's a lot of race, because they can hide behind the camera, they can say all this crazy stuff or whatever. I don't think I've ever been on the Xbox or none of these platforms and got up here talking about honky this and that and all that. I don't think I ever did nothing like that. I don't really hear black people doing that. But they got entire Reddit and all this. I mean, these places, they got whole cesspools of folks to be doing all this. They don't want to just play the game. I mean, you might talk some SHI, but you had some dude the other day, he got up there talking about he wanted to hurt a bunch of black people and shoot a school or something. I mean, they just go overboard. And the FBI is investigating this dude. So, shout out to Basement Bob. Basement Bob is sitting up there with his little funky BVDs and his beef jerky and no girlfriend in sight. None. This dude ain't got no girlfriend in sight. No girlfriend in sight. You see? But I thought that was something that was worth a look, that I did want to cover. And I almost forgot to mention it. And one other thing. We're going back to the Defender, the Children's Health Defense news and views. Michael Devakaris posted something. Now, this article came out on the Age saying the Biden administration is funding AI tools to censor American speech. Now, there was an interim report, so let's see what the source is. Oh, wow. This is really the report. This is the weaponization of the National Science Foundation, how NFS is funding the development of automated tools to censor online speech at scale and trying to cover it up. Now, this is it's a staff report from the House of Representatives, but who wrote it? They got an executive summary. It looks like it's public. Oh, geez. Holy crap. Is it public? Well, they posted it. I don't know. But it says, so it got released Monday. It says they're using AI tools to identify and censor misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation online. Man, these folks just won't stop. It says the purpose of these taxpayer-funded projects is to develop AI-powered censorship and propaganda tools that can be used by governments and big tech to shape public opinion. The subcommittee on the weaponization of the federal government said today in a press release. So what is this press release? All right, so this comes from the House of Representatives Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan. And then he posted the full staff report. Okay, so so this is public. So I'm going to break this down next time, y'all. But it looks like, yep, and this is from DC. So we're going to cover this next week. But it says on Monday, Rep. Jim Jordan, Republican of Ohio, chair of the subcommittee in the House Judiciary Committee, released the Amazon files on X, formerly known as Twitter. The files contain documents highlighting how the Biden administration exerted pressure on Amazon to censor books critical of the COVID vaccines. The subcommittee's report cites non-public documents and focuses on grants the National Science Foundation provided to nonprofit academic institutions to develop AI tools. Jeez. So this dude subpoenaed the National Science Foundation for its role in the censorship of Americans. We're going to have to do a program about this by itself. Where I'm going to have to break and read all of this down. And I actually have one of the coldest playlists. Shout out to Noisy. Y'all go and subscribe to Noisy Beats. Noizy on YouTube. Shout out to Noisy. Fair use, YouTube. Fair use. Yeah, I didn't expect this to be such a bombshell. We're gonna have to look at this again. We're gonna have to look at this again, y'all. But look, y'all heard my rant already. Man, I think what we're gonna do is, I think I'm gonna do a Salesforce video real quick, where I can just kind of show y'all Salesforce, and I'm gonna upload it in the morning. I'm gonna get this uploaded as soon as I can for y'all, so we can keep going, man. We can keep going, and like I said, I promise I got some projects in the mix. I'm not gonna talk about what they are, but just let you know I got some projects in the mix, and I think y'all really gonna enjoy it. So as we're building this channel together, if you guys want me to cover some things, or if you got some story times that I'm gonna get back to my story times. I might even do a story time tonight. I don't know. I might do a story time, and I might do like a presentation. So either way, we gonna get it going. Hey, we gonna be growing, y'all. Just give me a little time. Give me a little time to kind of get my thing together, and it's gonna get better and better. So I appreciate y'all. Peace.